Welcome back to Superstarglam, and today's a video. I kind of sat down and I was thinking about doing a favorites video, but instead I kind of got caught up with the idea that it'd be kind of cool to go back to I went through all my old favorites videos and I picked out all of the items that from when I started my channel all the way till present, and picked out all the items that I still continue to use, that still continue to be one of my favorites or some of my favorites. And that's pretty much what I did. And I was able to create this entire look using all of my past favorite items. So I thought it'd be fun. It's kind of one of those like mixes of rediscovering or shopping your own stash, because a lot of these items we kind of forgot that they were so good and they worked awesome, because our job is to continuously try new products and find out what's out there, what's new in the market, kind of deal. So I thought this would be a fun way to pull out all these old items, see if they were still my favorite, and of course they are. And this is also a testament to you that all of my favorites were favorites for a reason and still continue to be favorites, and I still stand by my word and recommend these products if you have not yet tried them. But before we jump into that, if you haven't yet subscribed to my channel, what are you waiting for? Go ahead and click the little button down below and become part of the Superstar Glam Squad family. While you're there, also click the little notification bell. That way you are alerted every time I upload a video. So if you're interested to see me do a full face using all past favorites, then just keep watching. I just wanted to show you what I used off camera. The first one is my Burt's Bees Natural Acne Solutions. This has salicylic acid and treatment from willow bark, and it's a clarifying toner. This is definitely a holy grail. Like, I cannot live without this toner. I've put on a lot of people onto this. The second thing that I just used before applying like my moisturizer was the Flawless Touch. It's just this little machine. You turn it on and just gets rid of all the peach fuzz, gives you more of a clean, flawless canvas to work with. I do have a list of stuff. Oh, there was a brush that I mentioned in a past, I think, old favorites video, and that is still true to today. It's the wet brush. I know it's a little dirty, but I constantly use it. This one's in like a metallic. I think I got this one at Sally's if I'm not mistaken, but they sell these also everywhere. Another item that also I continue to repurchase over and over and over, and I just love them, is the Kirkland brand facial towels. I use these at nighttime to remove makeup, but they're not the only way I cleanse my face, but it is one step I use. But I always use these. So if you've struggled with finding facial towelettes, I would definitely recommend you getting these. I get these at Costco. So okay, and two more things that I'm going to mention before I get started on the face is the cleanser, the daily cleanser I use, the Philosophy Purity One Step Cleanser. I don't know, there's something about that cleanser I love. I keep it in the shower, so it's one of those steps that after I'm done washing my hair and the rest of my body, that's the last step I do, is I cleanse my face with that cleanser. I feel that the Purity just gives me a nice, fresh, clean feeling without feeling not like strip my face dry. If you haven't tried it, definitely try it. I think it's for all skin types. Okay, so primer. I think there was one primer that I included in there, and it was actually a few favorites back. and it was the elf one. The problem with that, it was that I just can't find it anymore. It was one of those things that came out and when they were launching all their skin products, and then now that I've tried to repurchase it, I can't find it anymore. So come back after I prime my face. Okay, so the next item is foundations. I've mentioned quite a few. I keep going back to them, or I keep repurchasing them. I think one of the first ones that I included as a favorites foundation was the Catrice HD Liquid Coverage Foundation. I have it in two shades, a warm beige 040 and sand beige 030. That's the only thing, or the only negative thing I have to say about this foundation, is that the shade range is horrible. Another one that I picked up that also became one of my favorites that I did mention was the Physician Formula's the Healthy Foundation. Has SPF 20, and I loved it so much that I ended up getting two shades. The reason why I got two shades is because I found one to be a little more on the warm side, and I like a cool tone or yellow based foundation. This is a foundation that if you want it for every day but you don't want the full coverage effect, this is it. It gives you just a right amount of coverage to even out your skin tone. I love how my skin looks. It looks like healthy. It looks like I have a healthy glow to it. Sometimes if I want extra coverage, I do use this as like a foundation to mix it with a perhaps full coverage foundation, and I think this works really good for that. I think it makes every other foundation that worked horribly better. The next one is another one. I did a review on this foundation. It was in my favorites. It's just one of those foundations that I can't go wrong depending on what I need it for. And I have even put on my mom onto this foundation. She loves this foundation. So it is the L'Oreal Infallible 24-Hour Fresh Wear Foundation. This is in the shade 465. It sits well and doesn't emphasize any of my problem areas. I just love this foundation. So again, I continue to use and wear this foundation. Okay, so that was it as far as foundations that I've mentioned in past favorites. So I think I'm gonna do a little bit of a combo for today. I'm gonna apply both the Physician Formula and the Infallible. So I usually apply the most of this one, and I'm gonna pump like two little pumps in the back of my hand with the L'Oreal Infallible Fresh Wear. I'm gonna add some to the brush and then start applying it. I'm gonna pick it up with the sponge, and then I'm going to go over the entire face just to help blend it out and then pick up any excess. Okay, for concealers, I'm actually surprised that I've only included two concealers in my favorites. I like them both for totally different reasons, and it is the Makeup Revolution Conceal and Define Full Coverage Conceal and Contour. I have it in two shades, and the Maybelline Super Stay Better Skin Concealer. This one I love on like everyday or minimal makeup days. I love how it looks. It's not heavy. I like to use this for highlighting purposes, but it's not so bright that, you know, kind of looks off, especially if I lightly apply it and then don't wear anything else. It works perfectly for brightening up the under eye, and that's what I love it for, like everyday wear. The second one, this one, is I just love the fact that it's so affordable and it's full coverage. So I'm going to, I have two shades. One is more like my everyday shade, kind of, it matches more my skin tone, and then the other one's more for brightening. But I think since I'm going to combine it with this one, I'm going to go in with the skin tone color one, and I'm going to just tap it here underneath the eye. I'm just going to apply this for more of for coverage purposes. And then another item that I included in my favorites that, again, I still love this. I haven't really, I just took it out. It's actually dirty because I just used it yesterday, but I still do love it. It is like the perfect size. This is the Beauty Blender, the Beauty Blusher by Beauty Blender. Its purpose is to apply, I guess, cream blush, but I feel like it's the mini ones for under the eye or whatever they were meant for, they were too small and slippery, so they were always falling off my fingers. I feel this is like the perfect size. Okay, and then for the brightening, I'm gonna use this one. It works perfectly when you're trying to blend out like a bigger area like the forehead. You use the butt of the sponge, and then it's small enough to get in the tight corners around the eye area. The next category are powders, setting powders, and I've mentioned 3 altogether. The Rimmel Match Perfection Silky Loose Face Powder, the Maybelline Loose Powder, and the Maybelline Fit Me Loose Finishing Powder. All 3 of them I would totally recommend. I love this one for setting under the eye, which is probably what I'm going to use it for. I'm going to go in with the blusher sponge, and I'm going to use it to set under the eye. The Maybelline one, I have it in 2 shades. I have it in light and medium. I use the light for more like the highlighting, setting the highlight areas, and then the medium for all over the face. The Fit Me concealer, I also use it for the brightening effect. This one is in the shade Fair Light number 10, and I definitely love this for brightening. So I'm going to use this one, the Maybelline, the medium, to set all over my face. And these have definitely been repurchases for me. And the best part about all these powders that I am mentioning is the fact that they're all drugstore, so you can always find a good deal to purchase them. I'm going to use now the Fit Me to kind of bake to brighten. So now I'm just going to dust it away. Contour palettes. I've mentioned 2, and they both still are my top favorite. Actually, they're pretty much the only contour palettes that I currently use, and it is the Cover FX Perfector Face Palette and the MAC Studio Fix Sculpt and Shape Contour Palette. The Cover FX one, I use it specifically just for that contour shade. It's called Silhouette. And the MAC, I do sometimes use the highlight shades, not all the time, but for the most part I really used the 2 contour shades, Taupe and Sculpt. I mixed those 2 for the contour. So I'm gonna go in with the MAC one today, but like I said, I do use both. Next is the bronzers. Now, I didn't use this. I think I like to use this before I powder my entire face, but it is still a favorite. It's been a favorite. I love the product itself. It's the Chanel Soleil Tan de Chanel bronzer. It says it's universal, but I still find it a little hard to use, especially if I am more tan. It doesn't appear as much as when in the winter when I'm a lot lighter. So this is something that I love to wear more like in the summertime to give me that nice like sun-kissed glow. And then 2 items that I mentioned in the past, they still continue to be one of like my favorites. I think bronzers is definitely another one of those products that I love to purchase and try out, and I always struggle finding the right shade or the right tone. So when I do find them, I just become obsessed or in love with the product. So one of them was this one, the Essence Sun Club Matte Bronzing Powder. I got it in 2 shades, 01 Natural and 02 Sunny. I've hit pan on the lighter one. Has more of the cool tone, which I love in a bronzer, and this one I feel like it's a trickier, it has warm tones that I only use in the summertime. All year round, I think I prefer a cool tone, but if I am going to use a warm tone bronzer, it's usually when I am more tanned and I feel like I need to bring out more of those warm tones. And then the other one that's like, I literally had to kind of put it away because I was using it like non-stop, is this one, the Hourglass Ambient Lighting Bronzer in Luminous Bronze Light. It is a definitely pricier bronzer, but what I love about this bronzer is that you can't really go wrong with this bronzer. Like, it just works so nicely. It's such a like finely milled powder. It does seem like it's like a glittery bronzer because you do look at it in the pan and it has a bits of shimmer, but it's not obnoxious like that. It just gives you the right shine, the right luminosity. It just gives you such a healthy glow without overdoing it, and I love the tone on it as well. It's one of those bronzers that you can definitely build up to its intensity. If you're looking for a really good, and they have other shades too, but if you're looking for a really good, nice, like everyday bronzer, this is definitely it. So I'm gonna go in with this one. Yeah, it's like, it's not a mattifying bronzer. Oh, I like it. So for blush, the only ones that I could find that I ever mentioned in the past, and I still agree with it today, is the blushes from Hourglass as well. The Ambient Lighting Blush. That's what they're called. Ambient Lighting Blush. I have mine in Luminous Flush and Dim Infusion. Now, the favorites I mentioned was the palette, the blush palette, but I couldn't find it. Luckily, I had singles as well. Think I'm going to go in with this one, Dim Fusion, just because it's a little more new, like peachy tone. A favorite that I mentioned was this brush. It's the Luxie Lux 640 Pro Precision Tapered Brush, and I still continue to use this. This is my favorite way to apply blush. It works really, really nicely. Even if it's a highly pigmented blush, just the way this brush is designed, it doesn't apply too much. The formula on these are similar to the bronzer. It just gives you a flush of color with the right amount of sheen. So now marrying the bronzer and the blush together, I think it just gives me a nice combo. And the last face products, again, I've mentioned it in the past and they continue to be my favorites. And it's 3 of them. I think 2 of them might be a little bit harder to get a hold of. I'm not sure. For example, the Anastasia and Amarizi collab. I know they brought it back, so you may be able to find it now. Super, super pretty, but it's more of the formula that I am in love with. It just has the best formula. Like, it gives me that wet look, and I think that's what they all have in common, is the formula. It's not powdery at all. It doesn't sit on top of the face. It just gives you a wet look, a nice sheen, and you can't go wrong with any of these. The second one is the Elf and Heart Defensor collab. This was coffee and cream. This is another one of those formulas that is just beautiful. I love that there's 2 different shades, but I like to mix them up together or use one of the lighter side. It's for like a pop, you know, at the top of the cheekbone. It looks really, really nice. And then the third one, I think that I constantly wear this all the time. It's just the formula of it. I can't go wrong. And it comes with 3 different shades, but I like to mix and match or just go through all 3 of them. It's the MAC Hyper Real Glow. It's a really, really good highlighter. But like I said, you can't go wrong with any of them. They all have that same consistency, that same, like, it doesn't look powdery. It looks more like a cream feeling on the powders. But the way that it applies it on the cheek, just so nicely. So I'm going to go in with the MAC one. Again, I'm just going to go over. And really, I'm just using whatever brush. I'm going to go in with the e.l.f. one and just go over the light shade just a tiny bit. I'm just going to apply it here where I want it to be lighter, just at the top of the cheekbone. The next items I'm going to show you, again, I've included them in my favorites and I still continue to use them, and then I will come back once I'm done. And it's the brows, the brow products. This one is the Brow Gal by Tanya Crooks. I believe I might have gotten this in a BoxyCharm. It's 3 shades of brow powder. It's in the shade 02, I believe. I only used these 2, the darker for the tail part and then the inner part, the lighter shade. And to set my brows, I love using this. This is probably my 3rd tube of these that I've purchased. The NYX Professional Makeup Tinted Brow Mascara. This is in the shade Blonde. It sets them in place to where they're not going to go anywhere. But the best part about it for me is that I like to tint my natural hair, since my natural hair is dark and I'm already going in with dark powders. This kind of lightens them just a tad bit so that they're not as harsh, if that makes sense. So I definitely love this, again, in the blonde shade, just to lighten my brows a bit. And so I'm going to do them off camera and I'll be back when I'm done. So this is pretty much the full face using everything I've mentioned in past favorites. I went ahead and I just kind of contoured my eye just a little bit. I added the same contour palette that I added to my face. I added it to the eyes, and that's pretty much it. And some lashes. I've included this in the past, the tool that I use to apply my lashes. It is a craft tool. I think I've mentioned it also in my last video. I've mentioned this item before. This is kind of random, not beauty related. I guess you could say that. I don't know what category that would be. But anyways, it's the Swissco glass nail file. Yep. I have to use these on my nails. They work perfectly. I rather use these than those like emery boards. If anything, it's a lot more sanitary and better for the environment because they're glass and they never get dull. At least not that I know of, because I've been using this for years. I've had this for years and it always works awesome. The lash glue, all-time favorite, the Kiss Strip Lash Adhesive with Aloe. This is the clear. Such an economical glue. I get it at Walmart, Ulta, Target, everywhere they sell this line, Kiss. I think it works really, really good. So I use it all the time and it's definitely a favorite. I've mentioned it again in the past, so I'm still using this. I'm just quickly going over the list, make sure that I didn't miss anything. I didn't use them today because apparently I don't have a favorites palette, which is bizarre to me. But the brushes that I love, they've been on my favorites. I continue to use them and I still love to use these. I think they just do a super job blending anything out. It's effortlessly. It's the BH Cosmetics, the fan brushes, any size that you get is, it works really good, whether it's like the smallest one for like liner, these to blend out, buff out. They're just such good brushes. I don't know why not a lot of people have used these, but I love them, especially when I have more of like a smaller eye space to work with. And I do have somewhat of like a hooded eye, so I really need detail brushes to work in there and create an illusion of bigger eyes. So I think that was pretty much it for this video. I've included all of my past favorites, and like I said, I wanted to mention them again because they continue to be my favorites. I will link everything down below. I hope you enjoyed. Please don't forget to give me a thumbs up, subscribe if you haven't done so already, and I will see you next time. Bye.